Top 10 Fascinating Facts about Michelangelo Buonarroti. Discover the intriguing story behind Michelangelo Buonarroti, beyond his iconic works. Did you know that his rivalry with Leonardo da Vinci and his reluctance to paint the Sistine Chapel ceiling are just the tip of the iceberg? Join us to unveil 10 surprising facts that reveal the struggles, passions, and the indomitable spirit of Michelangelo. Get ready to see the Renaissance master in a completely new light. Number 10. Master of Hidden Anatomy. Michelangelo Buonarroti, a titanic figure of the Italian Renaissance, is not only remembered for his unparalleled contributions to the art world but also for his fascination and dedication to the study of human anatomy. At an early age, Michelangelo delved into the world of dissection, a practice that, although controversial and often restricted in his time, allowed him to explore the mysteries hidden beneath the skin. He spent countless hours in the morgue of the Santo Spirito convent in Florence, where, in exchange for his artistic skills to create a crucifix for the prior, he was granted the peculiar privilege of studying anatomy through the dissection of corpses. This meticulous and often macabre study provided him with a deep understanding of bone structure, muscles, and how the human body articulates and moves. This experience is reflected in the anatomical precision and vivacity of his works, from the powerful figures of the Sistine Chapel to the dynamic torsions and defined muscles of his sculptures, such as the David and the slaves intended for the tomb of Julius II. Michelangelo's obsession with anatomy was not only a testament to his relentless pursuit of realism and perfection in art but also placed him at the forefront of the intersection between art and science. His ability to fuse these fields allowed him to innovate in techniques and styles, influencing not only his contemporaries but also future generations of artists. Michelangelo's dedication to human anatomy also suggests a profound fascination with the human condition itself. Through his art, he sought not only to represent the human form accurately but also to capture the essence of what it means to be human, in all its glory and complexity. His works, imbued with an intimate understanding of anatomy, continue to speak of the beauty, strength, and fragility of human life, a legacy that transcends time and continues to inspire awe and wonder. Number 9. A single self-portrait. In the vast panorama of Michelangelo Buonarroti's work, his depictions of himself are almost as elusive as the artist's figure. Despite his prolific career, Michelangelo rarely included himself in his creations. However, there is one fascinating detail in one of his masterpieces that has captured the imagination of historians and art enthusiasts alike: a supposed self-portrait hidden within The Last Judgment in the Sistine Chapel. This self-portrait is not presented in a conventional manner. Instead, Michelangelo chose to represent his face on the flayed skin held by Saint Bartholomew, the martyr apostle. This act of incorporating himself in such a unique and somber manner offers a window into the artist's mind. It can be interpreted as a symbol of his personal and professional torment, as well as his reflection on mortality and transcendence. The choice of flayed skin as a canvas for his self-portrait is especially evocative, perhaps linking to his fascination with anatomy and the artistic process itself, a painful but revealing transformation. The fact that this is the only confirmed self-portrait of Michelangelo adds a layer of mystery and depth to his figure. Unlike other Renaissance artists who occasionally included themselves in their works as a signature or testimony of their presence, Michelangelo opted for a representation that intimately fuses art, faith, and personal introspection. This choice reflects the complexity of Michelangelo not only as an artist but as an individual. His inclination to hide his image within a work laden with spiritual and emotional meaning speaks of his quest for a purpose beyond mere physical representation, exploring themes of redemption, suffering, and the eternal struggle between life and death. The insertion of himself in The Last Judgment not only highlights his technical mastery and deep anatomical knowledge but also underscores his ongoing quest for connection with the divine, a silent testimony to his inner struggle and immortal artistic legacy. Number 8. Rivalry with Leonardo da Vinci. The history of the Italian Renaissance is marked by the eminence of two of its most legendary figures, Michelangelo Buonarroti and Leonardo da Vinci. These two colossi of art not only shared an era but also were entwined in a rivalry that has fascinated historians and enthusiasts for centuries. Although both artists reached the pinnacle of mastery in their respective disciplines, their personalities and artistic approaches were markedly different, fueling their competition both personally and professionally. The rivalry between Michelangelo and Leonardo was not merely a product of competition for commissions but also reflected fundamental differences in their philosophies and artistic methods. Michelangelo, known for his almost obsessive dedication to work and his deep study of human anatomy, contrasted with Leonardo, whose insatiable curiosity led him to explore a wide range of fields, from engineering to botany. This divergence in their interests and approaches manifested in their works, each marked by the distinctive stamp of its creator. The rivalry intensified in Florence, where both lived and worked during the same period. Their encounters were tense, and they rarely expressed mutual praise. This competition reached a critical point when both were commissioned to paint opposing murals in the Palazzo Vecchio, a direct competition that, unfortunately, was never completed but served to cement the legend of their rivalry. Despite their differences, this competition between Michelangelo and Leonardo propelled both artists to reach new heights of creativity and technical perfection. The tension between their artistic vision and their desire to outdo each other was, in many ways, a driving force for innovation and excellence that defined the Renaissance. The rivalry, far from being a mere personal conflict, was a reflection of the vibrant cultural atmosphere of the time, where individual genius was fostered and celebrated in the pursuit of the ideal of beauty and knowledge that characterized the Renaissance. This dynamic not only enriched their own lives and careers but also left an indelible legacy in art and culture, demonstrating how competition between two masterminds can act as a catalyst for greatness. The rivalry between Michelangelo and Leonardo remains a testament to the power of art to capture, challenge, and transcend the human experience, pushing humanity forward in its eternal quest for beauty and understanding. Number 7. The original location of David. The statue of David by Michelangelo is one of the undisputed masterpieces of Renaissance art, capturing not only the physical perfection and idealized beauty of the human being but also the spirit of an era. However, the initially intended destination for this monumental sculpture was very different from where it ultimately settled. Originally commissioned to be one of the 12 prophets to be placed on the buttresses of the Florence Cathedral, Michelangelo's David soon revealed itself as something too extraordinary for that location. The creation process of David began in 1501, and Michelangelo worked on this colossal block of marble for more than 2 years. Throughout this period, it became evident that the statue would not only surpass in size and majesty its projected companions but also encapsulated deeper symbolism. Michelangelo's David, representing the young biblical hero at the moment before his battle with Goliath, symbolized the strength and beauty of the human spirit, as well as the defense of civil rights and the freedom of the Florentine Republic against its enemies. Upon the completion of this magnificent work, a committee of Florentine artists and citizens, including Leonardo da Vinci and Sandro Botticelli, was convened to decide its final location. After deliberation, they decided that placing David at one of the heights of the cathedral would not do it justice. Instead, a prominent location in front of the Palazzo della Signoria, the political heart of Florence, was chosen as a clear symbol of the city's power and independence. This decision to move David to a more central and accessible location to the public allowed the statue to become an emblem of the city and a masterpiece admired worldwide. The significance of David, beyond its aesthetic beauty, lies in its representation of the Renaissance ideal of perfect humanity, both in physical and moral terms. Michelangelo managed to capture in marble not just the figure of a biblical youth but the unbreakable spirit of an entire era. The impact of its location choice resonated through the centuries, establishing David not only as a central piece in Michelangelo's work but also as an enduring symbol of Florence and the power of art to inspire and mobilize the human spirit. The sculpture remains a benchmark for artists and art lovers, a testament to Michelangelo's unparalleled skill and his deep understanding of the human form and spirit. Number 6. Work on demand from the Pope. The creation of the Sistine Chapel by Michelangelo is, undoubtedly, one of the greatest feats in art history, reflecting both the technical mastery of the artist and the complexity of his relationship with the ecclesiastical powers of his time. Despite considering himself primarily a sculptor, Michelangelo was commissioned by Pope Julius II in 1508 to renovate the ceilings decoration of the Sistine Chapel, a task he initially did not desire but eventually accepted, giving rise to one of the Renaissance's greatest legacies. The Sistine Chapel project was not straightforward for Michelangelo. The monumental task of painting over 500 square meters of frescoes on the ceiling of a chapel involved unprecedented physical and technical challenges. Moreover, Michelangelo had to deal with the pressure of working under the demanding and often impatient Pope. Despite these difficulties, he embarked on the enterprise with a dedication and vision that would completely transform the art of fresco painting. The masterpiece Michelangelo created in the Sistine Chapel is a visual narrative of biblical stories, ranging from the creation to the flood, culminating in the dramatic scene of the Last Judgment at the altar. His ability to convey human anatomy, emotional expression, and complex composition in his frescoes not only demonstrated his exceptional skill as a painter but also redefined Renaissance painting. The insistence of Pope Julius II was a catalyst that forced Michelangelo to explore and expand his artistic limits beyond sculpture, his preferred medium. This challenge led him to innovate in painting techniques and to develop creative solutions to the problems presented by the project's enormous scale. The result was a work that not only pleased the Pope but also left an indelible mark on art history. The impact of the Sistine Chapel goes beyond its religious significance or artistic importance. It represents the triumph of the human spirit over physical limitations and adversities. Michelangelo's ability to transform a papal imposition into one of the greatest expressions of human genius speaks to his relentless pursuit of perfection, his deep understanding of human nature, and his unwavering commitment to his art. Through this work, Michelangelo not only reached new heights in his personal career but also elevated Renaissance art to a new level of excellence, demonstrating that even the most challenging circumstances can be fertile ground for creating something transcendental. Number 5. Pioneer of Nonfinito. Michelangelo Buonarroti, in his ceaseless quest to express the purest essence of humanity through stone, developed and perfected a technique we now know as Nonfinito. This method, which intentionally leaves parts of the sculpture unfinished, became a powerful expressive tool in Michelangelo's hands, allowing him to communicate dramatic tension and latent energy in his works. This approach not only revealed the artist's creative process but also invited viewers to actively participate in interpreting the work, completing the unfinished forms with their imagination. Michelangelo's Nonfinito transcends mere technique. It is a physical manifestation of his artistic philosophy. For Michelangelo, the marble block contained the figure within, waiting to be freed by the sculptor's hands. Leaving parts of the work unfinished symbolized the eternal process of creation and the artist's effort to reach the divine, suggesting that absolute perfection is an unattainable ideal for mortals. This technique not only highlights the artist's struggle against the physical medium but also reflects the human struggle for spiritual liberation and authentic expression. Michelangelo's Nonfinito sculptures, such as the prisoners or slaves, intended to adorn Julius II's tomb, are emblematic examples of this technique. These figures seem to struggle to free themselves from the marble prison surrounding them, a powerful symbolism of the human spirit fighting against the bonds of earthly existence. This dynamic interaction between the completed form and the raw block is not just a demonstration of technical skill but also an invitation to contemplate the incomplete nature of human existence. The influence of Michelangelo's Nonfinito on art history is profound, challenging the artistic conventions of his time and opening new avenues for artistic expression. This approach allowed Michelangelo to communicate complex emotions and convey a sense of immediacy and unfinished potential, resonating in future generations of artists. By choosing to intentionally leave a work incomplete, Michelangelo reminds us that in art, as in life, the process of becoming is as significant as the culmination. Michelangelo's adoption and refinement of Nonfinito not only underline his genius as an artist but also reflect his deep understanding of the human condition. Through this technique, Michelangelo invites us to reflect on our own imperfection and the continuous effort to achieve a greater understanding and expression of ourselves and the world around us. In the Nonfinito works, we see not only the artist's hand at work but also a mirror of our own struggles and aspirations, an eternal testimony to the human quest for beauty, meaning, and transcendence. Number 4. Michelangelo, the Poet. Although Michelangelo Buonarroti is universally celebrated for his sculptures, paintings, and architectural works, his facet as a poet is less known but equally profound. Throughout his life, Michelangelo composed over 300 poems, including sonnets and madrigals, that offer an intimate insight into his thoughts, internal struggles, and deep sense of spirituality. His poetic writings, laden with emotions and personal reflections, reveal a complexity and sensitivity often hidden behind the grandeur of his visual works. Michelangelo's poetry moves between earthly and divine love, exploring themes of passion, beauty, mortality, and faith. His verses articulate the soul's longing for a connection beyond the physical, reflecting his ongoing quest for an ideal of perfection both in art and life. In many of his poems, Michelangelo dialogues with God, friends, and imagined or real lovers, using the written word to navigate his internal conflicts and spiritual aspirations. The emotional intensity and raw honesty present in his poetry offer a striking contrast to the perfection and grandiosity of his artworks. Through his writings, Michelangelo presents himself not just as an artist of unparalleled talent but also as a deeply reflective human being, confronting the eternal questions about love, life, death, and the existence of God. This exchange between visual art and poetry in Michelangelo's work underscores the inseparability of physical beauty and spiritual quest in his life and work. Michelangelo's contribution to Renaissance literature, though less celebrated than his visual achievements, is a testament to his versatility as an artist and his tireless exploration of all forms of creative expression. His poems, like his sculptures and paintings, are expressions of a genius who sought relentlessly to capture the complexity of the human experience, addressing with equal passion and depth the mysteries of the heart and spirit. Through his poetry, Michelangelo invites us to consider art and beauty not just as ends in themselves but as means to explore and understand the deepest recesses of the human being. His words, like his visual works, continue to resonate through the centuries, speaking to us of the vulnerability, passion, and transcendence that define the human condition. In this exchange between the chisel and the pen, Michelangelo reveals himself in all his complexity, offering us a more complete vision of an artist whose work and life continue to fascinate and enrich humanity. Number 3. A solitary genius. Michelangelo Buonarroti, renowned for his unparalleled contribution to Renaissance art, is also remembered for his marked tendency towards solitude and his preference for working independently. Despite occasionally collaborating with assistants throughout his career, Michelangelo maintained a complex relationship with the idea of collective work. His firm belief in his artistic vision and his uncompromising dedication to perfection often led him to modify or even undo the work done by others on his projects. This need for control over every aspect of his work reflects not just his extraordinary commitment to art but also a deep personal conviction in his own genius. Michelangelo was known for his intense concentration and his ability to immerse himself completely in his work, often for long hours and under physically demanding conditions. This immersion in the creative process was such that it is said he sometimes slept with his boots on, symbolizing his willingness to sacrifice personal comfort for artistic creation. This anecdote illustrates Michelangelo's total dedication to his art, considering every available moment as an opportunity to get closer to realizing his vision. Michelangelo's tendency to work alone extended beyond a mere personal preference. It was a statement of his artistic philosophy. He believed that true art was conceived and born through an intimate dialogue between the artist and his work, a deeply personal process that could hardly be shared or delegated. This solitary approach to art allowed him to explore emotional and technical depths that might not have been possible in a collaborative environment. Although this insistence on solitude and total control over his work sometimes put him in conflict with patrons, collaborators, and contemporaries, it was also the source of his genius. Michelangelo's ability to conceive and execute works of art that defy the limits of imagination and technique is partly the product of his unwavering dedication and his unusual method of working. His legacy, characterized by a fusion of emotional intensity, technical precision, and a constant pursuit of perfection, not only redefines the art of his time but continues to inspire artists and admirers alike. The figure of Michelangelo as a solitary genius underscores the idea that art, in its highest expression, is as much a personal quest as a contribution to collective culture. Through his life and work, Michelangelo reminds us that the path to genuine creation often lies in the depth of introspection and unwavering commitment to one's vision, a testament to art's ability to reflect the complexity of human experience from the shared solitude of the artist's studio. Number 2. Unusual longevity. In an era where life expectancy was considerably shorter than today, Michelangelo Buonarroti's longevity stands out as a notable fact. Living up to 88 years, Michelangelo not only exceeded the average lifespan of his contemporaries but also maintained an impressive artistic productivity throughout his life. His longevity allowed him to witness and contribute to several phases of the Renaissance, leaving a lasting legacy that few artists have managed to equal. Michelangelo's extensive career was marked by a constant evolution in style and technique, exploring and mastering each medium he worked with. From the marble sculptures of his youth to the Sistine Chapel paintings and the architectural designs of his later years, Michelangelo never ceased to innovate and seek new forms of artistic expression. This ability to reinvent himself and remain relevant in the changing landscape of Renaissance art is a testament to his genius and his tireless pursuit of perfection. Michelangelo's life, moreover, was full of physical and emotional challenges, from the physical demands of his work to the complex relationships with his patrons and his constant struggle for artistic autonomy. Despite these challenges, or perhaps because of them, Michelangelo continued to create works that defy comprehension and elevate the spirit, demonstrating that creativity has no age. Michelangelo's longevity also offered him a unique perspective on the world and art, allowing him to accumulate vast experience that enriched his work. His late works, characterized by greater introspection and emotive simplicity, reflect a deep understanding of the human condition, forged over decades of observation and reflection. The impact of Michelangelo's exceptionally long life on Renaissance art and art history, in general, is incalculable. His ability to adapt, his relentless commitment to innovation, and his inexhaustible quest for artistic expression set new standards of excellence. Michelangelo was not only a witness to the transformation of the Renaissance but also a key player in its development, using every year of his life to enrich and expand the horizon of art. Michelangelo's longevity, therefore, is not just a curious biographical fact but an essential element in understanding the magnitude and depth of his contribution to the world of art. Number 1. The Sistine Chapel ceiling was not his choice. The masterpiece that is the Sistine Chapel ceiling, universally celebrated as one of the pinnacles of Renaissance art, was the result of a commission Michelangelo Buonarroti reluctantly accepted. Originally, Michelangelo considered himself more a sculptor than a painter, and the prospect of spending years painting the fresco ceiling of a chapel not only intimidated him but also drew him away from his true passion. However, the insistence of Pope Julius II and the circumstances of the time led him to take on this monumental challenge, which would ultimately become one of his most transcendental contributions to art and Western culture. The transformation of the Sistine Chapel ceiling from a relatively simple starry sky to the complex visual narrative Michelangelo created is a testament to his genius and his ability to overcome the limits of his comfort zone. The work, covering over 500 square meters of frescoes, includes more than 300 figures and represents biblical scenes from the creation to the flood. This vast project not only demonstrated Michelangelo's technical skill and artistic innovation but also redefined fresco painting as a medium. Michelangelo's insecurity regarding his ability to carry out this task was reflected in his correspondence and the poems he wrote during this period, where he expressed his disdain for fresco painting and his desire to return to sculpture. However, through this struggle, Michelangelo not only reached new heights in his art but also expanded the boundaries of what was considered possible in painting. The legacy of the Sistine Chapel ceiling goes beyond its visual and technical impact. It represents the victory of art over doubt, fear, and uncertainty. Michelangelo, working under physically demanding conditions and facing his own insecurities, managed to create a work that continues to inspire awe and admiration centuries later. The story behind the creation of the Sistine Chapel ceiling reminds us that the most transcendental art often emerges from the most insurmountable challenges, and that true genius is revealed not only in the ability to create but also in the willingness to confront the unknown. Michelangelo's contribution to the Sistine Chapel not only cemented his place as one of the most influential artists in history but also left a lasting legacy that continues to challenge and enrich our understanding of art and creativity. Through this work, Michelangelo not only demonstrated his mastery of fresco but also shared a vision of the world filled with beauty, complexity, and profound humanity, an eternal gift to future generations.